Hi guys. So because we are having a little bit different of a school year this year, a lot of you are going to have questions when you're at home, when you're on your virtual days, or maybe even when you're in school and you have a question for your teachers. And one of the easiest ways to ask your teachers those questions is to send us an email. Um, Kind of wanted to go over some email etiquette or proper ways to send an email, write an email, and different parts of an email that kind of send a more professional message instead of just, hey, I don't have something, where can I get it? You will see on the screen there is an email, and it's just a random email from someone. And there's no subject line, and it says, Skyward says I'm missing something. I already did it. Now, the way that this person has sent the email is kind of more of a comment or a text that you would maybe send your friend or your parents or maybe a cousin. But when we are sending teachers emails, we want to make sure that they're in a professional manner just because as you get older, emails are going to be more and more important and probably one of the more popular ways you communicate with people throughout work and school. And so we want to make sure that we set that tone right away of getting your question answered, making sure that it is set in the right way and said in the right way as well. So take a look at the email that's on the screen right now and just pause this video and look to see what you think is missing or what you could add to it. Or if you received this email or something like this from someone, how would you take this email? Would you go, that's weird, okay? Would you think of it as kind of a negative tone? Would you think that you did something wrong? Pause this video and just take a minute to look at this email, either from your perspective if you sent it or from the perspective of receiving this email from someone. All right, so the next slide talks about or shows a proper way to send an email. There are a couple different parts to an email that should always be included no matter what. So if you notice, I'm going to go back a slide. The email that we were looking at about Skyward was missing a lot. It's very empty, very blank compared to this one. The proper way to send an email is to include the following things. You need to make sure you have the email address, which is this part right here, showing who you're sending it to. Okay, the email won't send unless you have an email address up there to send it to. Now, you can add, and a lot of the times you won't necessarily need to add this, but CC up here, if you were to click that for an email that you are sending, that means you are carbon copying CC, carbon copying someone into that email. So let's say you have a question and another student in the class, or maybe your friend has that same question. You would type in that person's email address that also has that same question or would like to know the answer to as the carbon copy. Now the carbon copy right here, the person receiving the email from you, if you were to carbon copy someone into that to also see how this person responds, the recipient of this email will see that you have two people sending this email technically. The blind carbon copy, which is the BCC, the recipient of the email will not see that you have someone else listed as a person who's going to see the answer to the email as a response back. So carbon copy, blind carbon copy. I just want to explain what those mean. You do not need to worry about those. Those are probably something that you'll use when you're older in school or maybe even out of school. But going back to parts of an email, your email always needs to have an email address to send someone. And it also always needs to have a subject. So this is kind of like one or two words, maybe a few more than that, but not many more, of the main idea of your email. So if I know that I have a missing assignment, like in this last one, it says, Skyward says I'm missing something. I already did it. Well, the main idea of this here and this big long email is that there's a missing assignment of some sort. So you're kind of just giving the person who's receiving that email a quick look at, okay, this email is going to be about missing assignments, and then I will explain it in the body of the email. Most of the time, an email will not send, even if you click the send button. It won't send unless you have a subject or something typed in that subject line. So you need to make sure you have that. It's just a quick idea, quick glimpse of what that email is going to be about. Okay, so that's the second part. You always need an email address and a subject. The next part is your greeting. So you can say, Dear Connor, or you can say the person's name that you're sending it to. And remember, it's kind of like a greeting in a letter, and I'm sure you've written letters before or talked about parts of a letter. You need that comma after. Okay, then you enter a line down, and a lot of the times you will start out by saying something positive. This email says, How are you doing? I hope you are staying safe and doing well. I certainly do miss seeing you in the classroom each day. If you think about that first paragraph that's in this email, it has nothing to do with missing assignments. Okay, it's just setting the tone of the email to say, this is positive. I'm not criticizing you in any way. I am just, checking in to see how you're doing. And then I also have a quick question about something. Now, this isn't necessarily always needed, but it does make the recipient of the email feel good about the email and feel good about receiving the email and not feel like they're being accused of something. So a lot of times that's just a great way. You can even end your email, the body of your email, with that. And they kind of do in here too. I appreciate all your efforts so far. Keep going. I know you will get caught up in no time. Okay, so that's kind of more on the positive side as well. These are kind of very similar. So you can do it in both places, one or the other, but you just want to make sure you're positive in your emails. Now, this next paragraph here is where the body of the email actually starts, because that is what you are talking about in your email. It says, I noticed that you have several missing assignments. Do you need any help getting caught up? Currently, your grade is suffering as a result of those missing assignments, but I am more than willing to help answer any questions you may have. Okay, so now we're talking about missing assignments, and that is answering the question that was sent to this teacher, Mrs. Spice, originally saying, I have a missing assignment in Skyward, I already did it. Well, now she's saying, okay, go back in. I noticed that you have several assignments. Check your Skyward. Let me know if you need any help getting caught up. We can sit down and work together on it, all that stuff. And then the next paragraph says, I realize that virtual learning is tough when it comes to staying organized and juggling all of your online assignments. But can you start on these assignments this week? So now she's actually answering the question, not only saying, yes, you do have missing assignments, but could you maybe get them done by this time? So she's kind of setting a deadline in this email also. Not that every email needs to have a deadline talked about in it, but she is setting the tone of, yes, this is important. I would really like you to get caught up on your missing assignments. Here's how. Okay? Then this is kind of that call to action section here. And actually, you could probably include this second paragraph and this third paragraph in the call to action as well, saying this is what you need to do now. And then the last one is closing. This could be considered your closing statement. I appreciate all your efforts so far. Keep going. I know you will get caught up in no time. That is wrapping up the email, finishing up your thoughts, and like I said, kind of ending the email on a positive note. And then the last one is your signature. Sincerely, Mrs. Spice. Lots of different ways that you can close out an email or sign an email and have your signature in there. You can just put your name, you can put your first and last name, you can put that greeting word, sincerely, or take care, or thank you. Those are some pretty common ones. So going back, let's look at the different parts of the email. We're going to go back to slide here. So you're going to have an email address. Obviously, you need to send someone the email that you're trying to send. Otherwise, your email won't send. You need a subject. 1 or 2 words stating the main idea of what your email is going to be about. You need your greeting, which is the Dear Connor. Your body is the rest of the email. So the next 4 paragraphs really technically is the whole body of the email. But we like to start off emails on a positive note or a positive quick phrase or how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well, kind of a thing. And then you get into the nitty gritty of your email, what your email is actually about, the missing assignments. Then they start explaining the missing assignments. So that whole long part of the email is the body. The call to action is usually included in the body saying, after this email, this is what you need to do. And then the closing, I appreciate all of your efforts so far. Keep going. I know you'll get caught up in no time. Then also the signature at the very end. Sincerely, Mrs. Spice. Take care, Mrs. Spice. Thank you, Mrs. Spice. And that's saying who it's from. Okay? Your assignment after this is going to be sending me an email. I will include this and the rubric to it in the Google Classroom assignment. But let's look at different parts of that email really quick. So the directions in this say to color code your message to ensure you have all the parts. The rubric that's attached to the end of this right here is going to tell you all the different colors that you're going to change the color of your text to show that you are putting all those parts into your email. Your subject line, you may not be able to change the color of the text in your subject, and that's fine. Just make sure that you fill in that subject line. And like I said, a lot of the times, they won't even let you send an email unless you have something in the subject line. But your greeting, which is the Dear Connor, you're going to make sure that that is in blue, or the dark blue. The body of your email is going to be in green. The call to action, what is going to be done after this email is sent, or what's the next step to get this mission accomplished, is going to be in orange. That's your call to action. And then the closing, which is the I appreciate all the effort you're doing, keep going, I know you'll do great. That is going to be in purple. And then the signature is going to be in that light blue. So that's the thank you, and then your name, or just your name at the end. A lot of the times that's all emails really have in the signature. So make sure that you are looking at this rubric in order to complete the email. So you'll see that there's 0 points, 1 point, and 2 points allotted to you. This assignment will be worth 12 points total. So you're just going to send me an email. I will have in the directions my email address and then what your email is to be about, or what you're going to be answering in your email. So just make sure you're looking at that. Okay. Here's an example of one that is color-coded. So if you need to look at this as an example, you are more than welcome to. So this will be included in the slides that's attached to your Google Classroom assignment. Okay, so these are just some examples. Please do not make your email that you're sending exactly like this one. Okay, good luck.